Hi guys, this is Mr. Assassin and I'm here to do Tower of God chapters 26, 27 and 28. Now these chapters are, in my opinion, very good chapters. They take the reader deeper into the story. They explain a lot of things and they also raise a lot of questions. So this video will be a review slash discussion because now that I'm reading Tower of God for the second time to do the reviews, and I just finished reading the 3 chapters, uh, there are certain things that come into my mind, but I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'll try uh, to do that to the best of my ability. Um, so as I said, these chapters are very important to the overall story, and we get to learn a bunch of new things that will take us. I mean, for me, after reading, I remember when I read the first time these chapters, I was like, damn, I gotta keep reading. I wanted to read more and see what happens, because at this point in time the story actually becomes interesting. Not that the story wasn't interesting before, but for me it became much more interesting after these 3 chapters. So that being said, let's start. As you remember from the last chapters, Bam tried to save Rachel and he was injured in the process. So right now he's in a coma in the hospital, and we see Lero going to the director's office and trying to speak with him about the test. And basically, I will try to summarize that discussion. Um, what he says is that this final test, I mean not the final test, but this bonus test, the Colosseum test, was organized in order to send the three members of the hooded team. We now know that one of them is an irregular, one of them is Rachel, and one of them is Androsi Zahar, the princess. So Lero suspected that this test was organized in order for the other team to win, the hooded team to win, so they can advance to the next level, and basically the director of this level would be done with them. He wanted to pass them along as quickly as possible, like handing out the responsibility to the next director from the next level. He also said that he also tells the director that he violated one of the rules of the test, and that is putting 2 persons from the same district in opposite teams. Because Bam knew Rachel, they were from the same district. At least that's what Lero thought. And there was a conflict there. You could definitely see that Bam was supposed to stay on the chair and win, but he decided to save Rachel. So that's why you cannot put 2 members from the same district in opposite teams. Now the director responds something that is very important. It's quintessential to the testing part, and he says, well, Mr. Lero, why do you think we test the regulars? And he says, well, Lero says, well, I think we test them because we need to filter out the ones that are not skilled and will not survive in the upper levels from the ones that are skilled and will survive in the upper levels. And the director says, no, that's not why we test them. You know that when you get to the top of the tower, you will gain 1 wish. you would have one wish. Sorry. Basically, you get one wish, and if that wish is power, money, fame, blah blah blah, then that's alright. That's okay. We don't care, because if somehow your wish, this basically goes deeper into the story. If somehow your wish is stems out of greed, then and you want power, you want money, you want fame, then that's okay. If your wish is to heal someone, or I don't know, build something, or anyway, so your wish comes from altruism, then that's okay too. But there are certain persons who can get to the top of the tower and they don't want nothing. They get to the top of the tower just to get to the top of the tower, and some of them want to get to the top of the tower to destroy the tower. And they need to filter these persons out, because they will bring harm to the tower. And the tower, as you could have seen by now, its home, it represents the home to billions of persons. I don't know exactly if billions, but millions, sure, probably even billions of persons. Because we can see how many persons live in one floor, and we know that probably there's over 100 floors, so one floor is as big as a country, so it could be a lot of persons. We don't get the exact number, but yeah, they make these tests so they can filter out the ones that want to change the tower or destroy the tower, and or get to the top of the tower, and they want nothing but well, let's take Bam for example. Bam didn't want to climb the tower. He only climbs the tower for Rachel. But what happens when Bam gets to the top of the tower? He will get to the top of the tower, he will be the strongest, because in order to get to the top of the tower you have to have a lot of power. So he will probably be the strongest then, and if he gets there with Rachel, and he sees Rachel being so happy that she finally sees the stars and everything, then he might think that he needs to destroy the tower, or if not, he might think that anyone in the tower should be able to see the stars, and somehow change the tower so that everyone could. So basically, Bam, in the director's eyes, and not only in his eyes, but in other characters' eyes that we will see in the later story, he is very dangerous, because he is not driven by greed or altruism. He is driven by love, and love, it's very dangerous, because what if he gets to the top of the tower and Rachel dies? He could think that all his work, all his pursuing, was in vain. He could fall, you know, like in Star Wars. I don't know how it was. Fear leads to anger, leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. Anyway, the point here is that his love could turn into hatred. Hatred against the tower, because it was the tower that killed Rachel if that happens. So he might destroy it. Basically, everyone sees Bam as dangerous. And Leroy says he doesn't understand. Well, he does, but he says he doesn't understand. And then the director says, well, think about it. Which person do you think is most dangerous to the tower from all the regulars? And of course, Leroy doesn't say it, but he thinks of Bam, because Bam displayed in the last test of he displayed a control over Shinsho that he didn't see before, and he's a ranker. So he obviously thinks about Bam. Bam is the most dangerous. And then the director says, well, didn't I take that person out? Didn't he fail the test? That's why I put two members from the same district in opposite teams. We need to take the ones that would harm the tower out. And if I hadn't done that, then he would have won. He would have kept the crown. He wouldn't have jumped off the throne, and he would have advanced to the next level. But he didn't because of my intervention. And Lero just sits up and tries to leave, but before he exits the door, and this is important, he asks the director, have you ever seen someone that could control Shinsho without having a contract with the administrator? And the administrator, the floor administrator, the level administrator, is a concept that we will see later on, so I will not explain it right here because that will be a spoiler, but it's very important. It's very important at each floor, at each level, you do a contract with a level administrator, because otherwise you will not be able to use Shinsho at your best potential. And we see Bam using Shinsho without having a contract, and that was unheard of. Lero didn't know anyone that was like that, but the director said, well, I know someone like that, Yurik Mazino. He was an irregular, and Yurik Mazino I'm not going to tell you right now, but this guy, no, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but this guy is fucking crazy. You will see him later on in the story. He's goddamn powerful. Anyway, Lero leaves, and then we jump to Bam. Had to bring on the lights. Okay, so we go to Bam, and now Bam is in a coma. We see Kun standing next to him in the hospital room, and he's praying that he will wake up from the coma in time for them to take the next test, and because the next test is in 2 days. We also see Rachel coming into the room and speaking to Kun, saying that and this is very important because I did not realize it the first time I read Tower of God, but now when I'm reading it, I realized that Rachel she's trying to push Bam to get the top of the tower, and these chapters describe it very well, because Rachel says the next thing: do not tell Kun, please do me a favor, do not tell Bam that I was here. Please lie to him, because Bam doesn't want to climb the tower. He only climbs the tower to get to me. If he knew I was here, if he knew he had me, he would have no motivation to climb the tower. And I need to climb the tower. She says I need, but in actuality she means Bam needs to climb the tower, because she alone doesn't have any powers. Rachel hasn't any powers. She is useless. She wasn't even supposed to pass the first floor. She wasn't even supposed to get in the tower, but we will see that later. She only entered because she pushed Bam to go with her. She manipulated him to fall in love with her so she could get into the tower. And I don't know if that's a spoiler, because many of you might already hinted upon that. Why did she went every day to Bam and give him food and spend time with him? only to leave after. If she truly loved Bam, then she would have stayed with him and made a life together. But she pretended to love him, and you can see that from the first chapters, but you probably didn't realize it. She loves the stars more than she loves Bam. She wants to get to the top of the tower more than she loves Bam. So clearly, her love for the stars and to get to the top of the tower trumps the love for Bam. So if she doesn't love Bam, then she manipulated him. It's logical. And she manipulated him to get into the tower and to follow her, to practically open up a way for her into the tower. And that's what she's doing right now. She's telling Khun, that has no idea about what's happening. She manipulates Khun right now to tell Bam to lie to him and tell him that she wasn't the one in here, so that Bam would go up and upper in the tower trying to search for her, while she was behind him in the lower levels, because Bam is going to go further and she will always be behind, one step behind, coming after him. So basically she deceives Bam to open up the way for her in the tower, and that's what she does. And of course Khun agrees to lie to Bam, because Khun, in his own way, he thinks that Bam is his friend, but Khun is driven by the motivation to kill his father. So he needs Bam to get to the floor where his father is. And so in a sense they are both using him. Khun is using him to pass the tests more easy, because with Bam in the team you pass the test more easy, and Rachel is using Bam to get to the top of the tower. And Bam is very special, and we see that in the 28th chapter. Just a moment. I will put an image here somewhere with the cave that Bam was in, and you have to wonder, when you see Bam, he's clearly younger than he is now. If now he's like 15, 16, maybe, we don't know, because time in the tower doesn't pass as regular time. The people in the tower live for hundreds, thousands of years. So, but I'm talking in our time, in the real time. He's probably 15, 16 years old now. When we see him in the cave with Rachel, he's probably 10. Yeah, I think he's probably 10. And he has the long hair. Clearly, he has spent all of his life in that cave. And you have to wonder, how can someone spend all of his life in a cave? What does he do for water? What does he do for food? Clearly, he doesn't need water for food. Bam stands, as I said in my first review, clearly stands for an abbreviation, like biological something something, BAAM. We don't know what it stands for. We will probably find out later. But he spent maybe 9-10 years in that cave in complete darkness, without food or water, without knowing the outside world, and he didn't care. That cave was the world to him. He didn't ask what was the reason of his existence. He didn't ask if he had a purpose. He simply was. One might say, just as a god. A god lives to create and change things. He doesn't have a purpose. Well, no, I'm getting into a discussion that I don't want to do right now. But basically, it raises a lot of questions about Bam's life, about his childhood. How did he get into that cave? and we see the symbols of that cave. And those symbols, embed them into your mind, because those symbols are going to appear later, and I don't want to do any spoilers, but they are going to appear later. And the thing is that when Rachel discovered him in the cave, she discovered him. She already had the plan in her mind to climb the tower. So you must ask, if Bam was created somehow, and he was that powerful, did Rachel knew about him? And when she first opened the cave and met Bam, she already had a plan of manipulating him formulated in her mind. These are all speculations, no spoilers, because the book where it is, so at the current chapter 180 something, they don't tell us more about Rachel and Bam than they do right now. So it's my speculation, but you have to admit that Bam's life is quite Bam's childhood. Bam's life is quite an enigma, and also how Rachel found him and motivated him to climb the tower. So that's all with Bam. A lot of questions, and then we skip into a little scene with the two princesses. The Anak and Androsi. Anak Zahad and Androsi Zahad. And we see Androsi telling Anak that, do you know who the Black March belongs to? And she says, I don't care. And Androsi says, well, it belongs to Yuri Zahad. In 500 years, she is the first Zahad princess to be given one of the 13-month series. And she's a fisherman, which is a very unique fighting style. We will get into that later in this review. She's a fisherman, and she became a high ranker in only 100 years, which is very, very fast, apparently, for this tower. And we can clearly see that that Anak cannot use the Black March. The Black March doesn't want to communicate with her as it did with Bam, and for that she goes to Leso, her team member, and she tries to put him to talk to the sword, but the sword keeps zapping him, as if he was not man enough to handle the need of the sword, and that was pretty funny. But basically, Androsi tells Anak that she knows she is a fake. Anak is a fake. She's not the true princess. And they get into a little fight. But that's basically all the discussion with them. Nothing special, but you saw Yuri Zahad in the last chapters, in chapters 25. She had her whole team put together, and she's coming back from the sword for the sword, and there is no way that Anak can stop those guys. No way, she would be dead in a few seconds. So she better get rid of that sword or give it back to Bam, or otherwise bad things are gonna happen. And then we get into the last part, the part where Bam actually wakes up. Bam wakes up 3 days after the test has already begun, and Khun tells him that he didn't fail the test because Bam was freaking out that he failed the test. And Khun says, well, you got lucky, you didn't fail the test because you were lucky. And then we flash back to the day of the test, and we see why Khun didn't fail, why Bam didn't fail the test. It was because the next test, the final test, was a position test, and we get to learn about the 5 positions. And the 5 positions are fisherman, spear bearer, light bearer, Scout, and Wave Controller. 5 positions. And basically, the Fisherman, which is the same class that uses the hardest of Fisherman, is the core of the team. The Fishermen are the strongest from the team, the one that could stand alone in a fight and use a real inventory. They lure the enemies out, pretty much like a fisherman does with a fish. He has the bait, he has the what you call them, god damn it. He has the fishing rod, he or she, he has a fishing rod, and he lures the prey, and he struggles with the prey. So the fisherman is the backbone of the team. Now the spear bearer is practically the sniper of the team. They are long range fighters, and their task is to finish off the prey that the fisherman lures in. The light bearer is practically the brain of the team. He quote unquote shines the light on dark places, dark situations. He practically resolves the puzzle that the teams are confronted, that the team is confronted with, and he controls the team on the ground. He receives information from the scout, which is the fourth team member, and he positions the team according to the information it has, so they would have a better position at luring out their prey, the ones they hunt. Now the scout, it's very simple. It's basically what a normal scout is. He goes up front, he gathers information about the enemy, and he transmits the information to the light bearer. Oh, excuse me. And the final position is the wave controller, the ones that can actually manipulate Shinsho. And the wave controllers are basically a know-it-all member. He doesn't have a wave controller doesn't have a defined position in the team, but he basically helps all the others with manipulation of Shinsho. And these are the 5 positions, from a team. And according Leroro, that is presiding over the test, Leroro tells everyone, well, according to your performance so far, we have put each and every one of you in a certain category, and you will have a month to learn about each position. Sorry, phone. So these are the 5 positions, and as I said, Leroro is telling everyone that according to their performance, each of them have been put in a position and have a month to learn as best as possible their positions, their characteristic traits. And then he goes on and showing lists of the people and their positions. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to say everyone's position. I'm going to say only the relevant characters' positions. So Anak and Androsi Zahar are fishermen, as you could have guessed, because they are very powerful. The crocodile, I don't know what his name is, Rek, the crocodile is a spear bearer. Kun is a light bearer. Hatsu and Leso, the ones from Anak team, are scouts. And Bam and Laurel, the one that is always sleeping, are wave controllers. And basically these are the top characters, and the other ones that do not matter that much. So they have a month to study, and Kun knows that Bam is in a coma, and he asks Leo, well, what about the ones that are already injured? How are they going to study? And Leo says, well, when their injuries heal, they can start studying, and if they have a penalty, a time penalty, because for example, if Bam wakes from the coma 15 days in the test, then he will only have 15 days to learn what the others learn in 30 days. So Kun asks, what about this penalty? And Leo says, well, if they have a penalty in time, then that's their own fault, because it's their own fault that they got injured in the first place. In a battle, you do not ask your opponent to wait, give me a break so I can heal up. In a battle, if you got injured, that is your fault and you're paying for it. So it's only logical that they would lose some time because of the injury. But Bam gets lucky because it seems that the wave controller teacher, the one that is supposed to teach them how to control Shinsho, is running late, and he will arrive at the second floor, the second level, within 3 days. And we see that Bam wakes up within 3 days, so he actually didn't miss anything. And he's going to start his wave controller training. And that's basically chapter 28. And in chapter 29, I'm not going to do the review right now because this video is already long as it is. But in chapter 29, we are going to learn about the floor administrator and how you are supposed to make a contract with the floor administrator. And we are going to learn about Shinsho and how Bam can control it. So a bunch of information in the next chapter. I will also do that movie today, I hope, if I have time. But until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and especially comment, because I need to hear your opinion. I'm actually doing movies on opinions. I need to discuss with people and see what people think. But anyway, have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Any rational society would either kill me or put me to some use.